Yes, once again, as I make my way back to stage, here is the opening session. So this kind of sets a little bit of context for the evening and for the conference as well. What is it about creating a cyber resilient enterprise? Thank you, thank you. So as they say, today's CISOs are actually more at the cusp of kind of looking and ensuring that their organizations are not just safe, cyber resilient, but also kind of mitigating risks from various touch points. This was not the traditional enterprise or the institution of what existed, say, in the early stages of digital transformation. Today, I think there are multiple parameters, there are multiple things that kind of really hook a CISO's sleep and keeps him awake at night. And heavily regulated industries such as the banking and financial services space have all the more to look at. And we have one premier leader here, Abhijit, good friend, who has kind of been with Kotak Bank for a little bit now. So let's kind of quiz him on a couple of things that may be at top of his mind on what he believes is a journey towards creating the cyber resilient enterprise. So we look at certain frameworks or best practices or suggestions he has, because a lot of his peers are also sitting in our audience. So this will be great exchange of learning which we can get. So Abhijit, just very quickly to start off, thank you for joining us. Thank you for helping us to open the conference with this quick chat. So we'll do a quick dive, or shall we say a quick deep dive. Let's get started. So a state of the cyber resilience report, which I was reading through, has found that banking and capital market firms have made great strides in kind of not only preventing security attacks, but also in kind of bouncing back to business as usual faster than any other industry, because there's no other choice that you have. You're like the quintessential Mumbai city, No matter what happens, you're bouncing back into action and you're able to be resilient. So having said that, given the extent of interaction that you have with the extensive supply chain ecosystem and also with third-party vendors, what do you look at as some of the core pillars of a cyber resilient as a strategy for cyber resilience? So how are you all out to create this in Kotak as well?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, ETCISO, for having me here. Thank you, Shanthi. To that question, if you literally look at it, resiliency translates to bouncing back. If you get hit, how well do you absorb the hit and how soon can you bounce back? So I think financial institutions have, over the last 2 to 3 years time frame, have put in a lot of effort into building their capability on IR, incident responses. I think that's where the journey has happened. But again, between detection and response, if you look at it, I personally believe that the capability of detection is still much higher in all organizations as compared to the incident response, right? So see what happens, and why is that so? Because incident response requires a lot of coordinated effort. It is not just the cybersecurity team who may be required to respond. There can be others, right? So that coordinated effort, if you've got to make, right, you've got to have a platform. Now, I'm not wanting to name a tool or a set of tools, but I'm saying you've got to look at a platform which allows you to integrate a lot of technology stacks and orchestrate your remediations, right? I think that is important, right? I think that is where is the challenge I personally feel today. Second, post you remediate, see, you may feel you have remediated, but has it been remediated? How do you test that? Now, if you have been able to detect something, you already know what has hit you, right? You know that now, and you have initiated a remediation. Post the remediation, what is the capability to simulate the same thing and check that yes, it has been remediated? how do you scan the complete infrastructure and come to a conclusion that yes, I have remediated it, right? So I think these pieces are the challenges. So incident response and I would say orchestrations across multiple technology stacks continue to be a challenge. Detection, on the other hand, whether you use a platform-based tool or you use multiple tools across multiple technology stacks, I think that has definitely seen a lot of improvement. Yeah. So this is my take.
Absolutely, absolutely. So detection, as you say, is a positive upswing. But remediation, and kind of developing incident response mechanisms has made some strides, but has some way to go, right?
So I was reading a recent report, and I don't remember whose report was that. I'm reading a recent report. So, it kind of, over a piece of survey that they conducted, it kind of said that incident response has improved overall. I think they had interviewed some 600 odd enterprises, right? The CISOs obviously, and their findings say that incident response and orchestration has improved from 47% to 67% in the last 2 years. Now that's a great improvement, but yet to go.
Absolutely, no, that's a great data point actually, and that's a phenomenal leap in itself, right? You raised an interesting point about navigating through different tech stacks, right? So I was reading a report as well which said that most organizations, kind of adopting the newer stack of, AI, ML, have kind of, and you brought that point too, that, this has enhanced your cybersecurity posture and perhaps your security maturity as well. And the report stated that it's gone up 9 points in value as compared to last year across the globe. Taking a ballpark of, say, a range of 700 to 900 organizations across the globe, top enterprises, I'm thinking Fortune 500 companies, so on and so forth, different industries, which would include banking as well. My point is, at this point of time, what is the real value that you can measure against all these investments? If you really look at cybersecurity being an integral part of your core strategies, where would you see the real value in your investments?
See, I think. So this is a very, very favorite topic of mine. I always talk about consolidation, tools consolidation, and the return of investment, right? So, see. There are best of breed tools, and so the question is, how much of that are you using? Now, if you have multiple technology stacks, there are two things in life which will always bother the CISO and the operations team. First is compatibility between multiple tools, and the second is integration, right? Something works with something but doesn't work with something. This is always there. Now, I would very strongly recommend to look for a platform-based services, not the best of the breed, but have you really, I would urge everyone, kind of to look at what is it that you are actually wanting that feature, right? Look at it from a platform-based services. What happens is that you got a single platform to operate, you cut down your complexities of integrations and interoperability. You cut down the complexity of running multiple agents onto multiple different systems, right? And see, what agent version you run on Windows will be very different from an agent version that you run on Linux, which means for the same technology, you're running two different versions within your organization. A lot of operational hassle there, right? So kind of look at that piece from a platform-based services and see what is, list down what is must-have and what is good to have. Look at if it can deliver the must-haves. I think that is good enough, right? Second thing, what is very important is, and this is a personal experience I've had, working across organizations, is we somehow believe that the tool will work because we have bought it. Doesn't happen. You've got to make the tool work. It's the CISO's responsibility to build that capability within the team, build partnerships, generate that skill set within the team to make that tool work. Otherwise, your ROI has gone for a toss. After a year, when you sit across with the CFO, it'll be very difficult to answer the question, what is the ROI of the tool that you have deployed? Now you're in a very catchy situation, right? And this doesn't help anyone. I think my strong ask is, have the CISOs look at the must-haves, look at a platform-based service, look at a tool consolidation. See, why I'm saying this is that I very firmly believe on visibility, because everything starts with visibility. If you do not have a cohesive and integrated visibility, I think you've already started with a problem statement itself, right? Now, if that doesn't happen, see, and people are talking about AI. Again, I'm a very strong advocate of AI ops. Now, how do you do AI ops? If you are not integrated, you do not have workflow management, you do not have data visibility, where does AI ops come? It doesn't come. It'll never come. So, see, that starting step itself will give you the problem statement, is what I very personally believe. So I think this is what is my take and my suggestion to my colleagues out here. Thanks.
Sure. So while there is this huge demand or an ask from the cybersecurity leaders for consolidation, is the industry responding to that demand?
Yes. So, I mean, I'll tell you what, in the past few organizations that I've kind of gone through, and even in the current organization, so when you kind of look at a typical bank, like the largest, 4 or 5 banks in the country today, the private ones obviously, I wouldn't be wrong if I make this statement that a bank, if a user is carrying a laptop, that laptop will have minimum 7 to 8 agents on it. With a platform-based service, you can go to 3. You'll have your features, you'll have your controls, you'll have your inventories, and you'll still have your return on investments, right? I've seen industries adopting it, but we will have to kind of challenge our own self and see, I've bought this tool, it has got 20 features. Do I use those 20 features? I'm happy because it has 20 features. So what? How many of them do I use? What is necessary and must have, as I said, right? I think that piece of the discussion enterprises are still grappling with. They're adopting, but I think this discussion, what is must have, I think there lies the challenge.
I think that calls for customer metrics
Yeah.
to understand how much you're utilizing in the first place, right? Great. So lots of questions to ask, but since this is like an opening session and an overview session, and before we get a T and a U, that our time's up. Thank you so much for joining us on this, Abhijit, and giving us a quick opening and a quick overview of how you really see creating a cyber resilient enterprises. More discussions as we move forward in the conference. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.